Edward's like, dude, she flew across the world to stop me from doing something wild, okay? All she did was jump off a cliff with you. We are not the same.
What's good? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Newest Olympian. My name is Mike Schubert. I'm the titular Newest Olympian. I'm a 34-year-old man who never read the Percy Jackson books as a kid, but I read them as an adult because I was on a quest to determine if society had been sleeping on the series. I said yes, and now I'm seeing if society has been sleeping on the Heroes of Olympus series, and I'm joined today by a very special guest because I'm never on this quest alone. I'm joined today in person, live from San Diego. It is a fan favorite of the podcast, someone that I've just spent a lovely evening with after some San Diego Comic-Con Percy Jackson goodness. Now we're doing some Heroes of Olympus goodness. It's Jania Stewart. Jania, how's it going?
It is going well.
It is a delight to have you here in this very interesting setup where I'm on my proper microphone and you're on my travel microphone as we sit across from the ironing board in my hotel.
Engineering.
We make it work. My microphone is resting on top of a sunglasses case to be pointed in the right way. We moved everything around so that the plugs could reach the outlets. We're making it work, baby. So we're going to be covering chapters 64 and 65 of the House of Hades, which are delightful. I cannot wait to talk about chapter 65 for so many different reasons.
Incredible stuff.
But we have had you on the pod a bunch. I think you've answered most of the guest questions, the questions. Have you answered the what would, if you were a god and there was a cabin about you, what Cabin Jania would look like?
Ooh, oh my gosh. Okay. Cabin Jania would probably look like books everywhere. Mm-hmm. Probably random balls of yarn for crocheting purposes.
Ooh.
Lots of posters dedicated to late 2000s supernatural television shows.
Like specifically the show Supernatural?
I'm sure it's included in the bunch,
Okay.
But you know, the CW and I were best friends. We were good friends.
I'm not surprised given that most of our dinner conversation was about Twilight. So that tracks.
Yes, that was me. I was there for it all. So it would probably feel a lot like you stepped into like a living room of a book nerd in 2010.
I absolutely love it. That's a great vibe. Well, let's go to a less great vibe because chapter 64 is a Percy chapter. We'll obviously retitle it. It's just called Percy, and it's continuing what Percy and Annabeth have been up to, which is going to the literal doors of death and learning about how it's a super scary elevator that's chained and being guarded by two titans. And now we're trying to see how we will do it. We're in the part where they're about to plan and do little sneaky maneuvers and stuff. So chapter 64 opens with, Iapetus, Hyperion bellowed, well, I thought you were hiding under a cleaning bucket somewhere. And Bob is very angry, and he explains he was not hiding. So we're getting some Hyperion. We've had a Hyperion. He's a big jerk, and he proves to be a big jerk in this chapter.
Love Hyperion.
Oh, tell me more. I mean, he's a lovable enemy.
I mean, yes, it's like that kind of thing where it's like, yes, he's a villain, but when he pops up, it's like, this is going to be fun.
Yeah,
I see
it. He's deliciously hateable.
Yes,
I think
yes.
Is the big trademark. I see it. I like it. He's fun and hateable. And there's a lot of people coming up now where I was really excited to see some of the giants come back.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in certain Heroes of Olympus books, they were around for such short amount of time that I was like, oh man, I want more Polybides. He was so fun. So yeah, Hyperion can be in that. We really only got him for a teeny tiny bit of book 5.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
him coming back.
Small amount of time.
Him coming back is fun. So Percy sneaks to one side of the doors of death, and Annabeth sneaks to the other. This is their whole thing where they're going to cut it open, cut the chains, and their whole plan is to try and release the doors.
Turn-based activities.
It does feel very much like,
very
Baldur's Gate 3. Especially given that they're in the Tartarus world, that feels very much like the
cursed land and the moonrise.
Right, it's like a combination of that astral plane.
Yes.
And then the cursed land.
Yes,
because the cursed land has one of those missions where it's like you have to keep the portal safe for X amount of turns.
Yeah,
that's
and, like,
what
keep
the
them from
12
getting
minutes.
In. That's exactly what this felt like to me.
Yes.
My brain was just like rolling noise, and then it was like something's about to happen.
That's a great impression of the Baldur's Gate 3 thing. I'm glad you've brought this up because I thought about this in the last episode that we covered, but I was like, man, I keep making too many Baldur's Gate references. So now I can just be like, it was Jania's fault. It was Jania. I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
You guys can blame me for it.
So they're sneaking. Now, the non-Titans kind of give the Titans some space. So the sneaking isn't too tricky for Percy and Annabeth. And it also seems like the Titans don't notice them at all. But Percy's thinking, I'm still going to sneak as best as I can. And it's funny what ends up happening with the sneaking. Annabeth chose the side that Hyperion is on because she figured that he would be more likely to sense Percy since they fought before, which I think is very smart. Annabeth proving to be Annabeth.
As always.
And Percy is on the side of Krios, and Krios is the one who is pressing and holding up the button.
Got you.
Now, Bob tells these two Titans, he's still in conversation with them, that he does remember them, and Hyperion chuckles in surprise because he thought that he heard, quote, Percy Jackson turned you into a brainwashed scullery maid. Ooh. I don't know what a scullery maid is.
I think it's like some medieval stuff where it's like, I don't know, you stand in the pantry or clean up around the house, you sneak around the hallways.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
But then he continues, what did he rename you? Betty?
Oh,
which...
Okay. All right. Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, he's going for it. He's like, all right, let's go with a B name, but let's give you a girl's name to try and demean you because obviously...
That's the worst thing a Titan could have happened to them.
Is be called a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Bob replies, Bob. But then Hyperion says, you know, I'm glad you're here because me and Krios have been here for weeks. And then Krios goes, hours.
That was funny.
It was pretty good. I like Krios a lot.
Me sitting in traffic.
Yeah, been here for eons. But then Hyperion goes, whatever, it's boring work. And then asks who the next group is. And Krios answers double red. And I wrote in my notes, wasn't it like numbers and letters or something last time? And the literal next line is Hyperion going, what kind of nonsense nomenclature goes from 822 to double red? It's like, all right. I don't know if this was a reference to something or if this is just Rick adding some flavor, but I did find it funny, even if I didn't get what was happening.
I was like, I thought it was just me. I was like, they didn't say anything about this before.
Yep. So Hyperion thinks that this job is beneath him. He is the Lord of Light, the Titan of the East, the Master of Dawn, the Sultan of Swat, the Colossus of Cloud, Babe Ruth.
The man, the myth,
the man, the myth. Anytime I can get a Sandlot reference in there. Krios says he always gets the worst jobs. Hyperion says that Bob should have this job, and he asks Bob to take his place. Then Bob looks at the doors, and he's clearly lost in thought as he's doing so. And he mutters about how the three of them, plus Koios, their other brother, held down their father Oranos so that Kronos could slash him up and scythe him. And when he was doing so, Kronos offered them control of the four corners of the world in exchange. And Hyperion says, I would have done the killing myself if I could have, if I had the scythe. And he says he recalls Bob being lukewarm on the killing, quote, the soft Titan of the West, soft as the sunset. And I don't know if this is a canonical thing. I'd have to ask Dr. Moya if this is like actually a thing in the myth or if this is just some Percy Jackson, Rick Riordan flavor text. But I think it's interesting no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like Bob. I like that he turned, he turned it around. He turned his life around.
Yeah.
Bob feels like the kind of guy who like has been through some stuff and now he's going around changing lives, being like, be better than me, you know?
Yes.
But he still has that spirit about him, you know, as we will see. So,
yeah. As soft as he may be, he is still a Titan. Like, I don't know that you want to cross him.
At the end of the day, he said, let's never forget.
Don't forget my background. So Hyperion says that Bob should have been named the Whimper, not the Piercer. And then this is when Percy makes it to the anchor hook. He uncaps Riptide. Krios is staring at Bob. And then Bob is doing exactly what you said, showing that he is still someone you don't want to trifle with. He points his spear at Hyperion and says, I can still pierce, which I love.
Love that.
Love
that was
it.
such a mic drop moment. I was like, oh.
It's pretty good. Especially when your nickname is as cool as the Piercer. Oh, you just got to embrace that. What a gift.
You can't let that one go.
No.
You can take being, you know, your name being changed to Bob.
Right. The Piercer.
Yeah.
It's just
Bob the
so
Piercer
good.
is kind of fire.
Yeah. Bob the Builder, Bob the Piercer.
It works.
It's good. And this now makes sense as to why Bob wasn't excited to see these two guys. We're getting the vibe that, oh, at least Hyperion is the type of sibling that just needles you and really tries to push your buttons. So it makes sense why he's upset. Bob says, well, I heard that Percy turned you into a nice tree in Central Park, which, woo, Bob's got comebacks too.
Sick.
Love it. Hyperion warns him to watch it. Bob continues that at least being a janitor is honest work. He leaves places better than he finds them. Unlike Hyperion, who thinks nothing of the messes that he makes, he says that he blindly followed the orders of Kronos, and now he's doing it again for Gia.
Ooh.
And that is like, Bob is he's really hitting them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very proud of Bob
It's
here.
the kind of thing you can only do when you know someone super well.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. I forget if there's like a name to this sort of thing, but this reminds me of Gary Goldman is one of my favorite comedians. And he talks in one of his sets about how if someone insults him and they say like, you're the worst comedian I've ever seen, he can push it aside because he knows it's not true. Like it's so far from the truth that he doesn't think about it. But if someone, especially someone that is more familiar with his work or someone closer to him says, oh, you're just like a mediocre comedian, it's like, it's way worse because it's like,
worse.
It's closer to the truth, but it's not right. Like, and that totally makes sense. If it's so wrong, you can brush it off as hyperbole. So yeah, it's a similar thing where I feel like some of the things that can really hurt you the most is when people who know you really well hit you with like that one specific thing you're sensitive about.
Yes, it's like almost like sibling arguments in a way. Because your siblings, especially if you shared a room with your sibling, they know you, man.
Oh.
They know you. There is no hiding. They know you well.
Oh, man. Hyperion counters that Gia, who he's blindly following orders from, is their mom. And Bob says she couldn't be bothered to wake up for us during our war, and she clearly favors the giants. Krios agrees with that second part.
That was some tea. That was some tea.
Hyperion tells them to shut it because you never know when she is listening in. And then the elevator dings, which surprises all of the Titans and Percy. And then Annabeth is ready to slash her chains, so she holds up 3 fingers to initiate a countdown. And they really want to do this before this next group enters. But thankfully, this group seems to have lost their tickets. Why are... a ticketing system? What are we
running this organization?
This a deli? What's going on? What is happening here? What is happening here? I gotta text Kelly real quick. She said she's going to bed, so I just want to say, recording. Good night. Recording. Good night. I love you. Thanks for everything. Heart, 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 heart. Heart, 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 heart. Great.
Hello, hearts.
Well, it was more than it was. I tried. One of my recently sent things was the hand heart.
Oh,
thing,
yeah.
And apparently it's the first time I sent it in a while because it did the thing where it was like, what race would you like your hand hearts to be? And this is just because I'm a white man. I just always go safe with the yellow default.
Homer Simpson default.
It feels weird to like pick another. Also, because like I feel in between some of the tans. Like I'm not the pasty white guy tan, but the second level of tan, because there's
like a little too.
It's a little too like. I'm not a person of color.
Still lived in New Jersey, you could pull it off.
You could
pull it off.
Italian hands.
Italian hands.
Yeah, so I just go with the yellow to be safe. I also one time saw one tweet from a person of color who was like, anytime one of my white friends has the non-yellow hands, I think less of them. And I was like, I will be the yellow emoji hands forever. I'm just going to play it safe. It's not worth it. Anyway, Percy Jackson, Emma, you can keep all that in. That was funny enough. So they got to get in before Double Red enters. They've lost their ticket, so it's taking a bit. Hyperion tells Bob, all right, you got to choose. You got to join us or you're going to have to fight us. And Bob looks like he might fight them for a second, but then he chooses to take guard duty and asks who of them wants to take a break first. And now I'm thinking this is a genius level move from Bob because the 2 Titans are going to quibble about... Quibble? Quibble or quabble? Or those words mean the same?
Wait,
squabble?
No.
Huh?
I think quibble makes sense.
Quibble
I think that is an arguing thing.
Quabble. It must be just, it must be quibble. Quabble's nothing. Okay, quabble is nothing. Oh, I have been hit by the AI overview. Not to hand it to an AI overview, but it says quibble is a real and common English word, while quabble is not a standard word in the dictionary. I think I was confusing that with, is squabble something? Yes. Squabble is a noisy argument.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
quibble and squabble are the same-ish. Okay, cool. So, as I was saying, they're going to quibble and squabble over who should take the break. And of course they do. They start yelling back and forth about who deserves the break. So then Annabeth locks eyes with Percy and starts to mouth 1, 2. But before she gets to 3, an explosion hits nearby, and a voice goes, "Stinking pit!" And Annabeth is sent flying 20 feet from the doors, which is the length of 2 basketball hoops. So that is far.
That's super far.
Super far. Percy is relieved to see that she's okay, but then he's worried because her death mist has dissipated. And then he looks at his hands and he realizes that his has dissipated too. And I didn't really know what this meant because previously they had said, oh, if you do something active, it gets rid of it. And I was like, is getting hit by an explosion active? That feels...
Baldur's Gate rules. Baldur's Gate.
What, that like counts as
Your
movement?
concentration's broken.
Concentration is broken. That's good. That's good. But I was confused as to what was going on. But then the voice says, Titans, lesser beings, imperfect and weak. And I was thinking, oh, is this a giant? Is this the giant from the cover? Whatever his name was, Clytius or whoever. That's where I went. But then Percy, as the narrator, lets us know that he wants to look away, but, quote, instead, he forced his eyes to trace the god's form. And when it's at the god's form, I was like, oh no, that's not good.
That doesn't sound great.
Starting with his black iron boots, each one as large as a coffin. His legs were covered in dark greaves. His flesh all thick purple muscle. Once it said purple muscle, I was like,
Thanos.
No. With his weird ripply chin.
My brain immediately produced an image of that. Against my will, I really tried to imagine something else.
No. I unfortunately got this description because Rick is too good at these gross descriptions. But once it said thick purple muscle, I was like, oh no, it's Tartarus, but dude mode. His flesh all thick purple muscle like the ground, so that dead giveaway. His armored skirt was made from thousands of black and twisted bones woven together like chain links and clasped in place by a belt of interlocking monstrous arms. On the surface of the warrior's breastplate, murky faces appeared and submerged. Giants, cyclopes, gorgons, and drakons, all pressing against the armor as if trying to get out. I love that underworld creepy dudes have this. Hades had it in his robes. Now this, like, it's such a good consistent theme.
It definitely feels Hades 2 coded for sure.
Oh yeah.
Like when he's going down to all the different levels to where Kronos is, it feels kind of like that. So my brain was like producing a Hades 2 style version of like if someone took Thanos's like purple outline and gave him different clothes.
It's like when the part of the game shows up when they talk to you and it's like there, but now in Hades 2 they've added motion. And it's like that. Ooh.
That's what I was kind of envisioning.
But then it's going to be hard because much like every single character in Hades 2 and Hades 1, he's just going to be so hot. Tartarus is going to be so hot.
He's also going to be a variation of the Hades like male cutout. You realize they have like 4 animation presets, I guess. And so some characters kind of, you can tell that they drew them all around the same base.
Like body type kind of thing?
Yeah.
I'll have to look for it. I'm usually just too distracted by everybody's beauty.
True. Everyone pops up and I'm
so
just
good
like,
looking. Everyone's looking great. Yeah, the description continues. The warrior's arms were bare, muscular, purple, and glistening. His hands as large as crane scoops. Worst of all was his head, a helmet of twisted rock and metal with no particular shape. I don't know why, but no particular shape was like...
I pictured an aluminum foil tin, like aluminum foil, like tinfoil hat type of thing. When they said no particular shape, because I was like, what else could metal with no real shape look like? You know, or that, or maybe like a weird geode.
That's the vibe that I got, was like just like a rock. Like just an imperfect rock was what I was going with. Just jagged spikes and pulsing patches of magma. His entire face was a whirlpool, an inward spiral of darkness. As Percy watched, the last particles of Titan essence from Hyperion and Krios were vacuumed into the warrior's maw. And I was like, what? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
His face is a spiral. His helmet is weird. His armor is funky and scary and creepy. And then also he just sucked up 2 of his kids. Like,
yeah, biblically accurate Tartarus.
Super weird. Super duper weird. Percy confirms that it's Tartarus, and Tartarus says that this manifestation is but a mere fraction of his full power. Great, good to know. But it's enough to deal with, quote, you, little demigod. And once he said that, it's like, oh, the jig is fully up.
It's
Like,
up.
he knows exactly what's going on. Tartarus commends Percy for being so resilient, but he says that he cannot stand by and watch him proceed any longer. So Percy had these feelings like he was being watched or sensed. I think both Percy and Annabeth had this feeling. So now it has been completely confirmed for us that Tartarus has just been monitoring
Eyeballs.
this.
Eyeballs in the wall.
Just been.
You've heard of Argus? Prepare for eyeballs in the walls. Okay.
When you said that, they can see the vision of like there's just those like creepy old school paintings all
Yes.
along the walls of Tartarus, and the eyes just
Yes,
fall out.
literally.
And then-
Scooby Doo levels.
Then he finally jumps out from behind. Okay, that's enough. He comes out from a bookcase. Whoa, no. This got on long enough. So the book ends the chapter with the following. Tartarus spread his arms. Throughout the valley, thousands of monsters wailed and roared, clashing their weapons and bellowing in triumph. The doors of death shuddered in their chains. Be honored, little demigods, said the god of the pit. Even the Olympians were never worthy of my personal attention, but you will be destroyed by Tartarus himself. This is wild. Of all the things I thought they would face off against, I never could have imagined that they would fight off against the personification of Tartarus. I don't know that it gets scarier.
No, because
than
that's
that.
as low as it goes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like one of the cool things about this series is you thought that we were scraping the bottom of the barrel with Kronos and Hyperion and that crew, and then we get Gia. Gaia?
It's Gaia.
Gaia.
I say Gia just because of the narrator.
Yeah, and then we get even further than that, and it's the literal spirit of the hole in the ground.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Once he came, and I was like, I don't know, guys, we might be cooked. We might be cooked.
Definitely, it's like, look, I really trust Percy and Annabeth. And,
The oven
and
is
Bob.
on. The oven is on.
It's
Are they getting out of it? We shall see.
and it's so funny because this chapter ends and then it goes to Frank's
Something
chapters,
totally
and it's like, oh
different,
my
yeah.
god, we can't even like really think about it. It's just,
Yeah.
it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's really terrifying. It's something I never predicted.
Yeah.
And I'm just currently in the state of like,
Yeah.
what are you guys going to do? What are you going to do? Because even when they describe Clytius, and if you see like the cover of my very legal PDF, the British one, like he looks very scary and large.
Yeah.
I don't know what the US cover looks like because the copy that I have is the hardcover without a dust jacket on it, which I love because then I just like don't
Imagine
know what it looks
anything.
like.
Yeah.
So I don't
it's-
know who's on it. I don't want to know. If you know, don't tell me.
I'm pretty sure it's like from this moment. Like, you know how
Okay.
each thing in the front,
Yeah.
each thing on the front, it's from
Something.
a moment in the
Yeah,
book.
it's
I think
this.
it's from this because
Okay.
it's two people and there's like lava on one side, water on the other, and they're trying to support each other walking towards like the
Okay.
gate. Or
Oh, okay.
something.
So it's before. Because the
Yeah.
one on my very legal British one is like Annabeth and Percy, who both look like a little too attractive for like kids. It's a little like they're
Little
both
concerning.
well, it's like Marvel posters when they're all standing like a little too sexily for the situation. It's kind of like that. And then there's like a big hunking dude. I wonder if this whole time I thought it was Clytius and it's actually Tartarus.
That could be.
Ooh, let me look. Let me pull up my very legal PDF and see what we're working with here. Well, there is like lava and stuff about, but this helmet like clearly has a shape and the breastplate looks more normal. If that's supposed to be Tartarus, I mean, his skin is purple though, which the whole time I thought was just like,
It feels like it could be.
I think it's just a really bad Tartarus based on the
Yeah.
description, but there's like lots of lava and fire behind him. So I guess oh yeah. And he's wearing a skirt. This whole time I was like, that's Clytius. Like I thought it was going to be Clytius, but no, that's Tartarus. I did notice, I've not really looked at this British one. Instead of this one saying, half boy, half god, all hero or anything, at the top it says Percy Jackson's deadliest adventure yet.
There's still a whole nother book. What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm not so sure. I also don't know if that's true, given number of
He's
people
been
that
in
have
a
died.
lot of situations.
Yeah, I'd have to run the numbers, but I don't know if that's true, very legal British PDF. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
true. But I do know that's the end of chapter 64, which I have retitled We Reach Our Floor, which I thought was fun because of the elevator thing, but also like, this is it. Like,
Yeah.
this is it. Do you have a retitling of chapter 64?
Oh, this is tough. I was gonna stick to biblically accurate
Tartarus. It's very good.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued. I know there's got to be some fan art out there of him, but I'm really intrigued to see how other people who have read this book and have read this character, how they make that up, because it sounds scary.
Super scary.
It sounds real, and we've seen a lot of like really scary individuals where, you know, it looks like they got some stuff going on.
This one wasn't in the text, but I envisioned just like very veiny and like very like red
Yes.
veiny. I think because they described the ground as having these red veins and stuff in it. I imagine him to just be like when a muscly dude is like really blood vessels are like really popping. I'm imagining that
in concerning ways.
In concerning ways, for sure.
In anime type ways. In ways that only animation can accurately portray.
Yeah, this series has to be. They got.
Yeah, I hope for. I definitely hope for this one that they take the animated route because. It would be incredible.
There's too much like wacky stuff. I think they have to do it.
Yeah.
And then they can keep some of the same voice actors if they want to keep the cast. It would be really fun.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take our mid-roll break here at the House of Headlines, and then we'll come back to discuss Chapter 65.
Yay.
Hello and welcome to the House of Headlines, Auxiliary Shubio edition, specifically Auxiliary Shubio I'm Sitting on the Floor edition. If it sounds a little bit different, that's why. I left the microphone stand portion in the Shubio proper, and the baby is asleep in the room where the Shubio closet lives. So here I am on the floor with some fun updates for you. So let's get into it. The most time pressing is that if you're listening to this the week that it comes out, that means we have a live show for TNO in New York City, in Brooklyn, coming to you this week, Saturday, August 15th. We've got a live show at Littlefield in Brooklyn, and we're going to be doing a two-part fun time. The first act is going to be classic TNO goodness, covering chapters 69 through 72 of The House of Hades with two guests, Sequoia Simone and Paul Kaola, two fan favorites. Very excited. I've been told those chapters are incredibly hype, so it's going to be some fun stuff. And then for the second act of the show, we're doing some Percy Jackson inspired improv with some very talented New York based improvisers. This includes my buddy Preston, who I did many improv shows with over in Seattle, including A Tribe Called Yes, which was the improvised hip hop musical improv comedy group that I was and still am a part of. We still do shows every now and then. And then there's also talented people like Adrian Firmpong, who was on my college improv team with me, Erika Ito, who you might know from Seaweed Brain, a really stacked roster. So stoked about it. So that's the second act, and then we'll end the show with some Q&A. So you can get tickets right now at thenewslimbit.com/live. Please do. I would love to see you there, and it's going to be a really fun show. It's Saturday at 8 p.m. Show will go about 2 hours. Come through. And then if you are in or near Philly and Boston in September, got a live show on the 20th in Boston and on the 27th in Philly, aka Doylestown, aka Philly. Don't know exactly what we're going to be covering there yet, but it's probably going to be early Blood of Olympus. That's what it's looking like. But just follow at Newest Olympian on Instagram, and I will post the chapters for whenever that comes. But yeah, that's the live shows on the docket. As far as other things, I'm back from vacation, so Kelly and I will be working on sending out the shipments for the pre-orders for the folks who pre-ordered the Mayor of Tangent Town pins, as well as the Australia New Zealand stickers if you didn't get them at the live shows. So we'll be sending those out over the course of August, and then in that process, I will also be sending, I think, 100 of the pins to the merch store. So if you want to get the Mayor of Tangent Town pins from the merch store, there will be a limited quantity available for you there. And the merch store has a bunch of other really fun stuff. There's digital stuff. There's physical things like posters and pins and stickers. Some of those are running out. Like, I think we only have like 5 of the TNO Trident pins left. So head on over to thenewslympian.com/merch if you want to get that stuff in your life. Many people have asked about restocking Camp Regular Person shirts. My plan is to do that before the holidays so that if you want to do it for the holiday season, you can. There are other shirts that you can get, though, that are on an evergreen basis, like the Trans Icon Blackjack shirts and the shirts I did with Robert from the Damn Meme page, the I Survived the Grey Sisters taxi shirts. Those are always available because they print them on demand. I'm also going to be updating the Patreon soon. I got to get another bonus episode. I'm going to do the next installment of the run of live show episodes I've been doing, where throughout the years, at certain live shows, I've covered portions of Percy Jackson's Greek gods, and I've already put 2 up for bonus episode tier patrons at the Super God tier and above, and I need to get the next one up. I think that would technically be July's, and then I'll get one in August. It was just hard with travel and Comic-Con and all this other stuff. And I am planning to get a special director's commentary up for Comic-Con. If you listen to the bonus episode and you want to know more, I want to just give like a fuller description of all of that. So hopefully getting that up soon, catching up because it was work and then travel and all this other stuff. But now we're back in New York City, so we can make stuff happen. Now, speaking of the Patreon, I'm going to give a shout out to the folks who've joined the Patreon most recently. So shout out to our newest Super God tier patrons, Squeak and Drew, as well as Allie. And thank you to our newest God tier patrons, Sunny and Stripe. And shout out to our newest Demigod tier patrons, Raunak Sethi and Chevy, like the car in parentheses. I'm guessing they wanted me just to say Chevy, but I did really appreciate making the username Chevy, like the car in parentheses. I think that's pretty good. Thank you to everyone for your support. May Apollo bless you that when you're applying sunscreen, you don't miss that one spot. You know that one spot, and you get the really specific burn that hurts and itches in that one spot. May Apollo protect you from getting sunburned in that one spot. If you're all caught up in the news Olympian and you're looking for some new content to consume, you're in luck because I make a whole bunch of it. I think you would enjoy it. And one that you could listen to, let's say you are seeing or you've already seen the new Spider-Man movie, which I saw, and it rips, guys. It's really good. If you want something to listen along to it, you should listen to the first episode of my scripted podcast, Modern Muckraker. It was a show where I worked with a whole team to create 4 episodes of a comedic investigative journalism podcast. The first episode is When Should Spider-Man Take the Subway Instead of Web Swinging? So if that didn't clue you in, it's something where we present it like this is a real legitimate journalism program, but the questions we ask and answer are inherently very silly. And it was fun because this particular Spider-Man movie really puts New York at the forefront. So I think you should listen to this podcast as a little companion thing. And then the rest of the episodes are great too. You can listen to wherever you get your podcasts by searching for Modern Muckraker, or you can go to our website, modernmuck.com. Now, unless you're listening on Patreon or get access to ad-free episodes, you're going to hear words from a few sponsors and make it feasible for me to be a full-time podcaster. Some of those ads will be read by me and others of them won't be. The ones that aren't read by me are inserted locally. So if you live in Timor-Leste, don't be surprised if you hear an ad in Portuguese or Teton. But once those ads are complete, we'll get back into this episode of the News Olympian. All right, and we're back. We're here with chapter 65, which is a long one. It'll take us through the end of this episode. It's called Frank. It opens with, quote, Frank was hoping for fireworks, or at least a big sign that read welcome home. And I just wrote at the top of my notes, what is even happening again? Like, these Annabeth Percy Tartarus chapters are always so intense.
And they take you out of it and you're like, no, bring me
wait,
back.
Wait, hold on.
Back.
Especially given the whiplash of like, we're facing against Tartarus. Frank didn't have a welcome party. I'm like, what are the stakes here again?
What's going on?
Yeah, so narrator Frank then explains his whole heritage backstory in case you skipped, I guess, the son of Neptune and the mark of Athena, but he gives the whole Greek, then to Roman, then to Chinese, then to Canada, how he became the Frank that he is today. And what he's saying is they're back in Greece, so now it's full circle. So it was just a very long way for them to say, we're in Greece. Now, instead of getting a big welcome party, they have to fight off a bunch of harpies. Frank thinks of Ella while he shoots them down, so he feels a little bit bad. And in addition to there being no welcoming from any sort of people, the ground and the terrain all just seems very unwelcoming. Just jagged rocks and everything. It's hot and humid. And Leo is on the top of the deck as well, and he says this heat and mugginess reminds him of Houston, a place we are very familiar with.
Yes.
In the summer. It is a delight to be here in San Diego on July 23rd and not Houston, Texas on July 23rd because it would be bad.
You would be walking into a cube of humid air.
Filled with mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes that are the size of half of one of your fingers, actually. Mosquitoes that peel your socks down for you and then bite you.
Houston mosquitoes are something else. I'm so delighted to not live there in the summer.
Yes.
Oh, man. Now, Leo asks if Hazel agrees that all they would need to do in order to get the full Gulf Coast experience is to have giant mosquitoes. And she goes, oh, great. Now we're going to actually face some giant mosquitoes. Frank is shocked that their tension is gone, and he credits it to this trip that Leo went on. I like that piece by piece, everyone is figuring out, like, something happened with Leo on this trip. Like, Leo's a changed man. Narrator Frank says, quote, Frank sensed something different about him, like a ship with a new keel. We all know what keels are. We're all boat people here. Maybe you couldn't see the keel, but you could tell it was there by the way the ship cut through the waves. I'm guessing the keel is the thing that the rudder moves, but I know nothing about boats.
Me either. I'm operating purely based off of like my Pirates of the Caribbean conception of what a boat looks like.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm wondering if it's that big pointy thing that was always at the front of the boats.
It is the pointy part underneath a boat.
Oh, so it's like cuts through the water.
The central structural backbone running along the bottom of a ship's hull, a stabilizing fin on sailboats, and it's also apparently some stock company.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
For them.
It was up. It was green. So invest now. The financial advice of this podcast is complete nonsense. Do not.
Please don't listen to it.
Do not. I know. All the things that my financial advisor tells me at the beginning of every phone call before I tell him, yeah, dude, keep doing what you're doing. Hang up. Leo is not taking jabs at Frank. He's actually talking to Hazel and not just looking at her wistfully. So he seems very different. And narrator Frank lets us know that Hazel told him earlier that she has a guess. he met someone. And Frank was asking how, why, when, where.
Great boyfriend right there. Great boyfriend right there. He's asking all the questions we really have gotta know.
And Hazel says, I just do. Narrator Frank says, quote, of course he was relieved that Leo wasn't hitting on his girl, but Frank was also kind of worried about Leo. Sure, they'd had their differences, but after all they'd been through together, Frank didn't want to see Leo get his heart broken. And I think that's really sweet from Frank.
Yeah.
Frank, even with the weirdness that Leo has shown to him, seems to be very mature about their relationship, and I really like it.
I love
really
it.
like it a lot.
It's so rare to see in a young boy, but I like his ability to kind of see around it and, you know, be like, yeah, I mean, I don't love this specific behavior, but I hope he's okay. He seems like he's going through it.
Yeah. It's also probably easier from the position of guy who has the girl. It's a little
When you know
easy.
your spot is good, like, you're
I
like,
mean,
I'm not worried about nothing.
Look, I'm fresh off watching New Moon for my upcoming
Oh,
Twilight
yeah.
limited series podcast, and like it's kind of the vibe Edward had after. Spoiler alert if anyone doesn't know New Moon, but like at the end of book probably, but at least for me, movie 2. At the end of movie 2, she's kind of like, look, I'm back with Edward, and Edward's kind of just like, sorry, dude.
Edward's like, dude, she flew across the world to stop me from doing something wild. Okay.
Yeah.
All she did was jump off a cliff with you. We are not the same.
Not even with him, just like near him.
She hallucinated me when she was with you, bud.
The turns that New Moon took.
It took a turn.
was-
Every choice was quite a choice.
The thing that I said is if you showed me a screenshot of like that part towards the end of New Moon and you were like, this isn't a Twilight movie, I'd go, no, it's not.
Stop.
It's not.
No way.
That's way too much saturation in that shot. Anyway, Percy Jackson. Nico, who's up on the foremast as he often is, points at a green river and goes, there. And what's fun with my very legal PDF being British said that it was a kilometre away and they need to maneuver, MANOEUVRE, toward it, which I keep making fun of. But every time I read maneuver, where the ending is oeuvre, I just find it hilarious.
It's so funny. Yeah.
Ugh.
I've got Kilometer in the audiobook version that I was listening to, and I thought, oh, maybe are they just doing that because like they're in Europe now?
They
Like the book is
must.
in Europe now. So
Yeah.
because at first I was like, it's not a British audiobook. Why are they
Audiobook.
doing that?
It's funny because I think this is the first time I've ever seen kilometer written in British English. So I don't think I've ever seen
like kilometre.
kilometre before. I've never seen it before.
How did you find out that French had such a huge influence on the country of the UK?
Kilometre. Yeah,
Kilometre.
they say that the whole time. It's 1 kilometre away.
French listeners are applauding
They're
our demise right
done.
now.
Absolutely hanging it up so that they can eat baguettes and
Mm-hmm.
smoke cigarettes and go, oh, now they really can go. France, I love you. I miss living in your country every day with your legally mandated certain recipes for baguette traditional that have to cost a certain amount. God, what a good law. What a great law. Oh, man, I'm so jealous. Hey, it's Mike from the future here. I only realized when I was doing the production work for this episode that it's kilometers or kilometres because Frank is the narrator and Frank is Canadian. Apologies for not realizing that in the moment. Anyway, back to the podcast. Anyway, Percy Jackson. So Nico says they're close to the temple, and then as if to punctuate his statement is true, black lightning emits into the sky. Jason tells everyone to grab their weapons. He instructs Leo to get close with the ship. Don't land it, but get it close to the ground. We don't want to have any more contact with the earth than we need to. He asks Piper and Hazel to get the mooring ropes. We all know what these are because of boats. Jason tells Frank to go get Hedge. So Frank goes downstairs and approaches with caution because he doesn't want to spook Hedge, who may swing his bat at him in response. Apparently, they've had some near misses with this before. And just as he's about to knock, he hears Hedge go, "Come on, babe, you know it's not like that." And just with the phrasing of "you know it's not like that," I was a little worried. Obviously, Hedge is talking to Melly here, but I was a little worried that it was going to be like another woman. I don't know. The "you know it's not like that" feels like the stereotypical.
It feels like, wait,
you-
I can explain. It's not what it looks like.
Yeah, so I didn't love that. Thankfully, that's not what's going on. Frank is shocked at how gently Hedge is speaking. Quote, usually the only sounds Frank heard from the coach's cabin were sporting events on the TV or the coach yelling, "Yeah, get him!" as he watched his favorite martial arts movies. Frank was pretty sure the coach wouldn't be calling Chuck Norris babe. Really funny. And then Frank overhears a female voice that sounds very distant, and I was like, okay, yeah, gotta be Melly. I wasn't 100% certain that her name was Melly, so I did write in my notes, oh, is he talking to Melly or whoever? Pretty sure her name was Melly, but I wouldn't, like, if my life depended on it,
Talking to the
bet
party
that it's
ponies
not.
for sure.
Well, I knew it was her. I just couldn't remember if her name was Melly, or maybe it was Nelly, or maybe it was Nettie, or, you know, something that was of the same vibe. Kind of like the whole time you think it's the Berenstain Bears, but it's the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah. Definitely thought it was Berenstain, but I think it's because of how the guy pronounces Berenstain in the song. It sounds like he's saying Berenstain Bears.
Oh, I didn't know there was a song. I just, like, colloquially just feel like everyone always called them the Berenstain Bears. And now I'm confronted with it a lot because my daughter's old enough where we go to children's libraries quite frequently. And the bears are always there. And every time I see the book, I'm like,
What is the truth?
The Mandela effect. Hedge tells her to stay safe, and he implies that he's going to do his best to stay safe as well, but he says they're about to go battle. And Frank finally can't take this anymore, so he knocks and he says, hey, coach? And 6 seconds later, the door flings open. It's, I guess, just long enough to, you know, wipe your tears and try to put yourself together. And when Hedge is talking to him, he has bloodshot eyes, so clearly it's been a tough conversation. I will note here that narrator Frank describes what Coach Hedge looks like, and he does say his usual hat. I will always bring this up because there was one time, I think at a live show, I was like, Hedge always wears a hat, right? And some people were like, no. And I was like, I'm pretty sure Hedge wears a hat. And so I always got to really...
Vindication, right?
I got to keep doing it because I'm a petty boy. Hedge asks, what do you want? And Frank says, we're getting ready for battle. We need you up on deck. And then narrator Frank says, quote, the coach's goatee quivered. Yeah, of course you do. He sounded strangely unexcited about the prospect of a fight. So clearly Hedge is not in his normal situation. This is not the Hedge we know. And oh my goodness, what comes next? Frank reveals, just being honest, that he did overhear Coach, and he asks, were you sending an Iris message? Hedge looks furious, but then he slumps his shoulders, sighs, and then goes back inside. So Frank is just standing there awkwardly in the hallway, eventually follows him in, and we get to learn about the inside of Coach Hedge's room. He plops down on his berth. What?
This feels like maybe a fancy farm word for, like, what goats lay down on, maybe a bunch of hay or like a bunch of grass. Or
I only knew berth because it's where a ship docks, because I take the ferry all the time in New York. Now the internet is telling me a berth is a designated space for a ship or boat to dock, or a built-in bed/bunk found on a train, boat, or camper. So I'm guessing one of those like beds that is attached to the wall kind of thing. Okay, that's the first time I ever experienced that, because when I said berth I was like, we're in a ship. What's going on? And then part of me was like, is berth the goat word for stomach? Because it says he plops down on his berth. I was like, is that a goat stomach? It could have been anything.
It could have been literally anything.
Then narrator Frank describes the room. There's laundry on the floor. He describes it as looking like a college dorm, which is very fitting. There's laundry on the floor, and narrator Frank says, quote, in parentheses, maybe for wearing, maybe for snacks. It was hard to tell with Cedars. So good. DVDs on the ground, dirty dishes aplenty. There's sports equipment all over the floor. There's balls that roll side to side when the ship tilts. And then there are tufts of goat hair around. Quote, dust goats? Goat bunnies? Narrator Frank is killing it in this chapter. He is doing such a good job. On the nightstand is a bowl of water, some drachmas, and a flashlight and a prism for making rainbows. So he's got his whole setup to make his calls. And then Frank remembers, right, Hedge has some sort of girlfriend. Melinda? Millicent? No, Melly.
Millicent is a wild pick.
Wild. But I get it. M-L-I-E in there. Yeah. Frank asks, is your girlfriend Melly okay? And Coach yells, it's none of your business. And then Frank goes, okay. And then Hedge goes, fine. If you must know, yes, I was talking to Melly, but she's not my girlfriend anymore. And then narrator Frank, in the book it says Frank's heart sank. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet that Frank would be so concerned.
He's such an empathic little guy. I love him. And I love that that's so, like, at odds with who his godly parent is. Yeah. Like, you just wouldn't expect him to be super emotionally insightful, but he really is. He has a lot of emotional maturity that I think is very cool.
I think it's really nice. So his heart sinks, and then he asks, oh no, did you break up? And no, Coach Hedge is married. That's a wild way to say she's not my girlfriend anymore, but incredible stuff. I was shocked. You were with me when I read this, and I just screamed, what? Coach Hedge is married? Like, the joy that I felt in this moment was on par with when one of my friends announces that they're getting married. And I think it was like the shock of it, because very recently I had some friends send an invitation to their wedding, and it's two people. I know both of them. They're friends from college, and I didn't even know they were dating, let alone that they were engaged, let alone that they're getting married, let alone that we're going to be invited. And they're such a perfect pair. But I think like the shock factor just made my heart grow 12 sizes. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. Like, I didn't know you guys are dating. You're such a good fit. I know you both. I love you both. Like, this is so amazing. I was just like overjoyed. So I felt similarly. And I mean, I do obviously have such an appreciation and a love for Hedge, but I think the surprise factor of it too, like brings it to the next level. But like, yeah, this was like on par with when my actual friends in real life tell me they got married. Yeah. I was so emotional.
Yeah, it almost feels like when you find out like your teacher's getting married.
Okay.
Where it's like the entire class is like hype about it, looking forward to it, or you have a teacher who's like pregnant.
Yeah.
Everybody all throughout the year is like, oh my gosh, like we can't wait. It's like the same kind of vibe. I was just like, he's been living a secret life.
Yes,
he has things to fight for. And then my second thought was, please let nothing happen to him.
I know. Immediately, it's like, I must protect Coach Hedge at all costs.
Yeah, because I feel like whenever, it's not just this book series, but I feel like it's a plot device that writers commonly use, is they take a character, and as soon as they start talking about some dream they have, some girl they love, some child, and I'm just like, I'm telling you, wrap him in bubble wrap right now.
I mean,
keep him away from all dangerous situations, please.
It's happened in other book series that I've made podcasts about.
We'll just have to see. I think he's fine.
I think he's going to be okay.
He's fine.
As we've established, you're the reason we together came up with Jason is cooked. So we've already got our first that we're worried about.
Yes.
Oh, man. So the book says, quote, Frank would have been less stunned if the coach had smacked him. Coach, that's great. When? How? And coach goes, none of your business. And then Frank goes, all right. And then coach goes, end of May, just before the Argo 2 sailed. We didn't want to make a big deal out of it. Frank is shocked, but now Hedge making all these calls makes so much sense. Hedge being especially cranky makes sense because he's away from his wife. It all is lining up. But Frank thinks there's still some sort of problem. The way this IM was going, the tone of it, something is still going on. So he continues, which I think is great from Frank. He says, look, I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but is everything okay? And Hedge says it's private, and Frank says, yeah, you're right. And then Coach explains that Melly took a break from her job in LA and went to Camp Half-Blood for the summer because they thought it would be safer, but now the Romans are approaching and she's stuck and she's scared, so he's really regretting this decision, it seems. Frank asks, I don't want to be rude, but since she's a wind spirit, can't she just float away? And Hedge says she's in a delicate situation. And once you said delicate situation, I was like, oh my gosh, Melly is pregnant. Like, oh my goodness gracious. And then Frank does guess this, and Hedge tells him to shout it louder because they can't hear you in Croatia. But oh my God, already over the moon learning that he's married. But now he's expecting, I freaked.
Part satyr, part cloud puff. It's gonna be so cute.
God, it's gonna be
what
so
if it's
cute.
Like kind of like how he has like goat legs, upper body is like goaty human? What if this baby's legs are like made of clouds, like goat shaped but made of clouds?
Oh my gosh, and can float and fly.
Yeah. And they leave cloud puffs everywhere instead of goat puffs.
So cute. I mean, my heart was already exploding in the joy that he's married. Now that he's having a kid, especially as a dad, like, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
And being of the age where like a lot of my friends are having kids, and like some of my friends are even having second kids, like it's really cool. And I am just so...
the miracle of life.
It's cool, man. Yeah. And just like, I'm so happy for it. I'm like,
this is a Hedge stan account.
I mean, it's like, I think it's probably just because I'm a sappy dad now, but like there's so many things that happens across these series. And I think like Coach Hedge saying he's married and expecting is the most emotional I've been reading these books. Like, I don't think, like, I was super hyped when Percy and Annabeth did the first kiss, like the surprise one in book 4, like that was like really cool. And there's obviously like sad moments, like the Zoe Nightshade thing floored me, but I don't know. This is some of the strongest emotions I felt reading this book.
Yeah, and it's because they're in such a dangerous situation, and now he has a lot on the line. It's not just him. Like, he can't just be like, I'll get my bat and I'll just beat him up. Like, he can't do that now. He has to like actually be mindful because he has to lose now.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously it's different things because I didn't go to war, but like the first time that I got on a flight after having our kid, and I hit a little bit of turbulence, and naturally, because I'm a human, you think like, oh, I'm going to die. This is it. The first time that happened, I was like, oh, this is different now. Like, this is different.
This feels very different now.
This is very different now. So, yeah. And I think the surprise factor is another reason, because I just like really didn't see this coming, but my goodness. Just so good. So good. Man. Oh, I'm such a sap. I love it now. I get so like choked up at cute stuff. Like I already got choked up in cute stuff in movies and stuff a lot, but like now oh
It's
man.
even worse.
I think I might have said this on the pod recently, but I was watching Field of Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it like properly for the first time on a flight, and it was after having our kid. So just the fact that I got to feel the like, oh, me and my dad, and then like, oh, me and my daughter, I was wreck on that flight. Oh man. So Frank guesses this, says it loudly. Frank is absolutely beaming, which is great. He's so excited for Hedge. He thinks that Hedge is going to be a stellar dad, tells him as much. Frank isn't sure why he's so sure, but he is sure. Like he can't figure it out why. And I think it is just kind of like an instinctual thing. I don't know. When I think of when my friends announce that they're having a kid, sometimes just right away are like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Like you're going to be so great. I don't think I've ever, for someone that I actually care about, when they announce, be like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I definitely feel the positive of
Yeah.
certain friends being like, we're expecting, like one of my friends just announced, and I'm so excited for them because him and his wife's a little older, so I'm sure it was like a little bit trickier, but I know they're both just gonna rock it as
Yeah.
parents. So when they posted it on social media, I was over the moon for them because they're both
Yeah.
going to be so good.
Yeah, I have two friends also who just announced literally within days of each other. They don't know each other at all. But I was like, oh my God. And one of them, it was like completely unexpected, but she's like, hell yeah, let's go. And
Yeah.
then the other one, she's like, yeah, I was kind of, keeping it on the low for a bit. And I was just like,
Oh, it's so good.
I love it. The auntie in me, I love being an auntie. Like, I love being able to pull up and feature kids ice cream, and you will deal with the mess
Balance.
after.
The auntie ice cream move.
It's clutch. It's clutch.
It literally just happened
It's clutch.
today. I was getting a FaceTime from Kelly and the baby because Kelly's sister's doing something for work where she's in New Jersey. So we went down to New Jersey for a little bit, and they went to like this incredible ice cream place, same place where like I used to go as a kid. And we haven't really given our daughter that much. She's had ice cream like one time before, and I just get a call. She's just like eating it by the spoonful, and then because Kelly's giving her some of hers. And then I get a bunch of photos of her like licking straight from a cone, and it was like, she got in the backseat of the car with Auntie Erin, and Auntie Erin gave her the ice cream cone. It's like, yeah, be the cool aunt. Like
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's just so fun.
especially
I love that.
because we're not like super strict or whatever, but we just, I don't know, we don't put screens in front of her, and she's perfectly happy to eat fruit and stuff. So we'll like give her that. Like we've been like introduced a lot of sweets, but it's like Kelly was texting, it's probably good to have the little like, the more fun aunt coming in, giving her ice cream. Like, yeah. Like,
It's a part of the experience. It's a core part of the experience.
Yeah, it's fun. Like I definitely had aunts who like gave me candies for the first
yeah.
time or sugary cereals or whatever. Like it's a classic.
I had an aunt who used to keep jelly beans in a jar at her house, and she used to keep them there because we would come over and be like, "Oh, can I have some?" And so she would just like, she used to keep the lid on it, and then the lid was like never on it when we would come over.
Just open.
Yeah.
Oh, love it. Oh man. Anyway, Percy Jackson. So Hedge then has this very serious look, and he says, "The war is coming, and I want to be with Melly. I don't want to die." So he's really got these stakes. And Frank says, "No one's gonna die." Okay, yeah, sure, Frank.
Famous last
yeah,
words.
all right, Frank. Yeah, okay, Mister. If a stick catches fire, I'm toast. Hedge says that he always had a soft spot for Aries and Mars kids, and that's why he's happy to answer all these questions. And Frank tries to explain that he didn't actually ask him any of the questions, but then Hedge goes, "Fine, I'll tell you." And he tells a story where we learn that Hedge brought Clarice to Camp Half-Blood. This chapter is nuts.
The lore drops in this chapter. Yeah, it's quite a thing.
We've learned so much about Hedge in mere paragraphs. It's wild. I was freaking out. But then, as happy as I was about this moment, it takes a sad turn because while he was doing this, one of the nights he had a dream that his mom, who's also a cloud nymph, I'll have to ask Dr. Moya how this all works, if this is a normal thing with nymphs and satyrs and such. Oh yeah, I guess the whole thing is like satyrs try to pair off with different nymphs, so it doesn't just have to be wilderness. So he had this dream that his mom was in trouble and needed saving, but he thought, that's just a dream. Who would hurt a cloud nymph? Everything's going to be fine. So he continued on his quest, bringing Clarice back to Camp Half-Blood, and then when he was done, he went to look for his mom. but she was gone and he never saw her again. So really sad, really, really sad. I don't know. I was very happy of the Clarice of it all, but then immediately it's just like, oh, Hedge. Oh,
Yeah, and he has such like an he has such a deep sense of like duty and responsibility for his task that it's like you can't blame him, but also it's like he's in a position because he's like, I walked away once. Who knows? You know, I don't want to leave her hanging.
yeah.
It's a hard situation.
It's tough. It's tough. Frank knows not to say I'm sorry because from the experience of his mother passing, he didn't like when people said that to him. So instead he says, you were just doing your job, saving someone's life. And Hedge is mad that his wife and unborn kid are halfway across the world and he can't help. But Frank says, you are doing something, because Hedge was saying, oh, I'm not doing anything. And Frank says, you are doing something. You're saving the world. That's the best way to keep our loved ones safe. It's a really good point that Frank makes. And Frank wishes that he could lift his spirits more, but he also is worried. He's not feeling super confident about how everything's going, so he doesn't know they can. But before this can get awkward or anything, the ship begins to descend, so they decide to go above. Hedge calls Frank a nosy Roman. Frank tries to protest again, and Hedge says, we should get going, and you better zip your lips, blabbermouth. So they go up deck. Leo's explaining his plan. He's saying that he needs Frank's magic firewood, and he has found a solution. So he turns to Frank and says, look, it's your call, but I can help you. And Frank thinks of all the times that Leo's hands have burst into flames, but he's weirdly calm for some reason. He guesses that the Venice adventure must have changed him, but he's down for it, so he goes along. And because Leo sounds so serious, he gives him the go-ahead. Hazel is hesitant, but she goes along with it as well. Then Leo whips out some cloth and goes, behold! Frank thinks it's a handkerchief. Hazel thinks it's a surrender flag. Leo explains that it's a gift from a friend. It's a magical drawstring pouch. It breathes like regular cloth, so it's just like the firewood being in Hazel's pocket. But, and then he tosses the pouch to Frank to spare him from a heart attack, and he makes a fireball show in one hand and he runs it over his sleeve, which is made of the same material, on his other arm, and he's proving to them that the fabric is flame resistant.
Always good.
Brings me back to my proper engineering days where I wore fire-resistant clothes when I was at the plant, baby. Frank credits this to Leo's immunity to flames. He's thinking, this isn't about the shirt, this is about you. And Leo says, no, that only happens when I concentrate. I didn't know that was another Leo power, which is like, this dude has so many new abilities that he keeps racking up. He insists that the cloth is fireproof. Hazel's not convinced. Leo says, okay, there's only going to be one way to win over this tough crowd. We got to do a proper demonstration. Frank doesn't want to do this. Leo says, you got to trust me. And Frank gives in after remembering that Leo got them out of the workshop in Rome, promising that he would get them out. And he's thinking, okay, look, Leo's proven to be a man of his word. Let's go for it. So Frank hands Leo the pouch and says, okay, try not to kill me. Then Leo makes flames emit from his hand, and the pouch is completely fine. So then he asks, who's your best buddy? And Hazel goes, don't answer that. But Leo, that was amazing. And Frank says, okay, now I'm going to keep the firewood, which I think is smart. But then immediately narrator Frank says, quote, Hazel pursed her lips. She looked down, maybe so Frank wouldn't see the hurt in her eyes. She'd protected that firewood for him through a lot of hard battles. It was a sign of trust between them, a symbol of their relationship, which I hadn't considered. So that is a little bit sad. But Frank explains, look, it's not about you. Instead, it's me feeling like I'm going to need to step up in the house of Hades. I want to carry my own burden. I'm thinking this could have a couple of different things. Maybe because I'm not super confident about Frank making it out. I think he's going to be okay.
He's too emotionally mature, and
you don't think you think he's going to survive?
I think he's on the chopping block for me.
Okay.
I think he's in danger. Yeah. He's on the bubble, if you will.
My thing is the three people I'm worried about are Frank, Hazel, and Jason.
Yes.
But my current running theory, Frank will be okay. Hazel's going to get stuck on the other side of the doors of death because someone's got to hold the elevator button open.
And it makes the most sense for her to do it, yeah.
Right, and she's already had the lights, and then she could be like, it's okay, I'll be with my dad, like in the underworld. Like,
so she's like dead, but not quite, and yeah. Right.
So I think that's what's going to happen, and then I think Jason's toast, as you and I
Jason's toast, Frank is in danger.
Yeah.
Frank is in danger.
But I think this is why, there's a couple different reasons why he's getting the firewood back. If Hazel's gone, she can't have it on her.
And that would make sense for why he's taking it right now, because this kind of feeds your theory a little bit.
Right, like get it back, then some stuff happens, we don't think about it, and then Hazel's gone, it's like, oh, thank goodness she doesn't have the stick anymore. The other thing is, something that I've always thought is potentially what's going to happen happen with Jason, especially with the like storm or fire kind of thing, is I feel like Jason's going to go out doing a heroic saving.
Yes.
And I feel like Frank is probably going to like be in danger of dying,
Yes.
maybe by fire or something like that. And he needs to have the thing that kills him on him in order for him to
make
be
it out
in risk.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I could see that happening. I could see Jason sacrificing himself for Frank. So in order for that to be the case, Frank needs to have the thing that can kill him.
Yeah.
I think this is all setting up future stuff. I don't think it's like, I think I've got to step up and be like, all right, bud. Like, I think it's to facilitate something else. So Frank then thanks Leo, but wishes he could do something more. Just thanking him doesn't feel like enough. And then Piper calls for them to go below deck. And there's a page break, and then it says they'd found the source of the dark lightning. So they are here. They are close. So the ship is now hovering right over that river that they had pointed out before. And at the top of a hill nearby, they see a bunch of ruins. And they don't necessarily look like much, just some crumbling walls and stuff. But from within the ruins, they see that's where the black tendrils are coming up. So they're thinking, okay, this is probably where we got to go. And Nico says, quote, the Necromantion, the house of Hades. So I was intrigued because if it doesn't look like much, is it something where they have to go like underground? Is it going to like magically appear? Are they going to go through some sort of doorway? I was very curious. So Frank tries to compose himself, thinking, it's probably too late to turn back. Yeah. Now he's getting nostalgic about all of the things that he had fought before, but they just have to go.
Yeah.
Piper is worried, floating up above, asks if they can set the boat down in the river, but Hazel says, I don't know. That's the river Acheron. And then Jason and me, because I was like, isn't that one of the underworld ones? Jason goes, I thought the Acheron was in the underworld. And Hazel says it is, but quote, its headwaters are in the mortal world. We all know what headwaters are. That river below us, eventually it flows underground straight into the realm of Pluto or Hades, landing a demigod ship on those waters. And Leo goes, yeah, let's stay up here. I don't want a zombie on my hull, which is great. So downstream, they see some fishing boats that are moving, and Frank is thinking, okay, I guess these are just mortals that have no idea how evil of a river they must be on.
No
must
idea.
be nice.
Just vibes. Just vibes.
Then Nico is next to Frank, and he raises the scepter of Diocletian, and the orb is glowing purple. And whether or not this is a Roman thing, Frank doesn't like it. Even though this is a Roman relic, he's like, I don't like the vibes of this thing, especially if it can summon a whole legion of the dead. I don't know. Frank's very skeptical. He doesn't like it. And the reason he doesn't like it is that Jason once told him that the children of Mars had a similar ability. Quote, supposedly, Frank could call on ghostly soldiers from the losing side of any war to serve him. And I was like, oh, yeah.
That feels like a Magic the Gathering card. if they make a Magic the Gathering set of this universe, Frank's card has to have recall this card from the graveyard and do whatever else. That feels...
Yeah, get the card from the discard.
These two chapters feel so game-coded.
I like it.
Tabletop RPG situations.
Frank thinks that he has never had much luck with that power, probably because it was just too spooky for him. He's more worried that he's going to become one of these ghosts if they lose.
Foreshadowing.
No, but at first I was like, wait, this is familiar. And I was like, oh, this is only when he had the whole like put the spear into the ground and Gray comes out. It's like, okay, so it's similar to what he could do, but not the same.
And also kind of like the thing with Clarice where she went on her boat mission and her dad sent her with like the losers of different that was interesting. That was really cool.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I wonder if this is giving us a little clue, like Frank's going to do it later. But I do like the idea that Frank is spooked by the scepter because it reminds him of a thing that he might be able to do when he's uncomfortable. I thought it was just like a fun reason.
Yeah.
So Frank then goes, so, Nico, have you learned to use that thing? And Nico replies, we'll find out, which is
that's not what you want to hear.
What you want at all.
Not what you want to hear.
Absolutely not what you want to hear. But he says he doesn't intend to try it out until he needs to, because the doors of death are already bringing in a bunch of monsters, and any more raising of the dead might mess with the doors forever. He doesn't want to rip a tear between the mortal world and the underground world that can never be repaired. Hedge replies to that, quote, "I hate rips in the world. Let's go bust some monster heads." And then Frank looks at Hedge and he gets an idea. And he tells Hedge that he should stay on board to cover them with ballistae. And I was wondering, is this a keep Hedge safe maneuver? It feels like it. It does feel like a good strategy in addition. So it might be like a two birds with one stone thing. But this for sure to me was like, look at Frank looking out for our guy Hedge. So then the book ends this chapter with the following. Hedge frowned. "Stay behind? Me? I'm your best soldier. We might need air support," Frank said, "like we did in Rome. You saved our braccae," which I'm guessing is...
I guess? No, that doesn't make sense.
I'm going to guess it's butt, and I feel like since I took
maybe
Latin in high
that's
school,
what they
I should
mean.
know. Oh, it's trousers. Like, so like
I
saved
was
our pants kind of
thinking
thing.
I was thinking brachial, like the
Oh,
but I'm mixing my languages up. Isn't this ancient Greek?
this would
Or
be
the area that they're in is supposed to
Yeah.
be old ancient Greece.
It's yes.
Okay, yeah, I was, it was that Latin showing up again.
Well, but he's a Roman boy, so I think this is Latin.
Yeah.
I think braccae is Latin. Yeah, it's the Latin term for trousers.
That's so wild.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Saved our pants.
Saved our pants. I think that is like a phrase. The book continues. He didn't add, "Plus I'd like you to get back your wife and baby alive." That did confirm my initial thoughts. Hedge apparently got the message. His scowl relaxed. Relief showed in his eyes. "Well," he grumbled, "I suppose somebody's got to save your braccae." Jason clapped the coach on the shoulder. Then he gave Frank an appreciative nod. "So that's settled. Everybody else, let's get to the ruins. Time to crash Gia's party." Yeah. That's the end of this chapter. What a great ending. I love leader Jason too. So fun. I have retitled this chapter "Bundles of Joy" just because of there is so much joy in this chapter with the love of the marriage being there, and the little kid, and even the little dust bunnies. I felt like there were lots of bundles of joys here.
Yeah,
Retitling of this chapter.
Yeah, this felt like the fortifying chapter. It's like, okay, remember all the reasons you got things to fight for, and now we're gonna get to the madness on both ends. I think I would probably call this Frank Ocean, because Frank is deeper than he appears.
Oh my goodness. Frank, make some more music, please, Frank. Please, Frank. We would love it. Obviously, take your own time. Take your time.
But
take your time.
But hurry up.
Frank, please. Jania, thank you so much for joining. This is so fun. So fun to do it in person, too. Yes. How delightful. But if you want to find you doing stuff, where can they find you doing stuff?
All right. So I am stepping my foot out of my little hermit shell. Yes. She's on Blue Sky now. So that's JN as in Nancy, JNEIAS on Blue Sky, and the same on my Substack. And I actually just launched what I'm calling my new and renewed Tumblr-esque blog on Substack called Missives in Progress. And it's basically just me getting back into my creative era, writing, podcasting, videoing, whatever I want, and it's kind of all in one spot. So feel free to support me there, and if I really like you, I will allow you to perceive me on my Instagram. So
yes, love it, awesome. Well, Jania, thank you so much for joining. Listeners, thank you so much for listening, and until next time, we see what's going on in these ruins. I'll see you later. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of The Newest Olympian. This podcast is created, hosted, and produced by me, Mike Schubert. I also run the social media and the website. Our editor is Emma Nelsen, and the music is by Bettina Campamanas and Brandon Grugel. If you just cannot get enough of the show, there's a couple of different things that you can do. First off, you can find us on social media. We're at Newest Olympian on Instagram and other places, but Instagram's where we're most active. You can also support the show on Patreon. TheNewestOlympian.com/Patreon is where you get access to bonus episodes, director's commentaries, behind-the-scenes looks in the pod, as well as our Discord. It's a phenomenal community with lots of wonderful TNO listeners. You can get access to that. The TNO Patreon is also where you can get live show replays and other digital goodies. But you can also go to thenewsolympian.com/merch to rep the show with some physical and digital merch as well. Speaking of the Patreon, let's give a shout out to our producer level patrons in the Olympic court level of the Patreon. So shout out to Kelsey Gillespie, Vicky Garcia, Frida, Megan Moon, Polly Burge, Nikki Harris, Tatiana Schmidt, Sam Reeby, Mrs. O'Leary, Milo Kim, Sandkoff, Rayla Matthews, Sky Mallory, Mick Walters, Grace, Bradimus Prime, Skylar Sisters, Scott Sheldon, Ann M. Thayer Cohen, Bella, Percy Jackson, Kit Kat Crumbs, Andrea, not Andrea, Terry Rothfuzz, Certified Ghost King's emotional support friend, Lee Hartley, Marco Redhouse, Raccoon Moon 149, and Kevin Wallbank. If you want to support the show in a non-monetary way, word of mouth is huge, goes a long way for podcast growth. So you could talk about the show with someone directly, you could post about it on social media, you could leave us a rating and review on whatever podcasting app you're using. All these things really do help. I appreciate anyone who has done it in the past or will do it in the future. But I'm just so thankful that you tuned into this episode, and I hope you tune into our next episode where we'll be joined by Emily and Phoebe from Monster Donut to break down chapters 66 through 68 of the House of Hades. But until then, I'll Percy you later. Hey everyone, how's it going? It's me, ASMR Mike. So since I've been recording this stuff on the floor, I feel like I should incorporate ASMR floor stuff into the mix. So I'm going to point my microphone towards the floor, and I'm just going to kind of like tap my fingers on it and rub them around and stuff. You know, really get that floor ASMR in the mix. Thank you so much for listening.